Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to another ARA live broadcast. And tonight, I'm joined by some amazing leaders that is doing a phenomenal work in their community. And I would just want to allow them just to greet us this evening. Tonight, we are joined by Kaylin Creel and Carmelita Knight. And I'm just going to ask the ladies to greet this evening. Kaylin, can you greet our audience?
Good evening, everybody. It's such an honor to be here this evening.
Thank you. Carmelita.
Good evening, everybody. What an honor to be in the studio this evening.
These women are doing a fantastic work within the city of Cape Town. I'm also joined this evening by Leader Marion. Good evening, Leader Marion.
Evening, leader. Evening, viewers. I'm so happy to have you all with us this evening.
Tonight we're going to be discussing a very interesting topic, and as the ARA women, we are very passionate about many things, but one of the things that is close to our hearts are our senior citizens. We know and we can all agree that they have done and contributed so much to the building of the society.
Yes.
You ladies agree
Yes.
and share that same
Yes.
sentiment. So these leaders are passionate about the work that they are doing when it comes to our senior citizens. And before we start this program tonight, I want to thank our senior citizens. To each one of them that has been contributing to this country. We are free in this SA because of the contribution that they've made in their communities in SA. So to all of our senior citizens from the ARA women, we want to say thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your sacrifice. And so tonight, my question to you as the audience, because we want you to engage with us tonight, has things really changed? If you're a senior citizen and you are live with us this evening, and maybe you are in the home with a senior citizen, engage with us and tell us, has things really changed? Has things really changed? If we look, we're working in the community, we talk to these older people. I mean, I've met a woman that lived in one of the suburbs for 75 years.
Wow.
She says nothing has changed.
Yes.
And that is very sad for me to hear those kinds of things. But tonight, Carmelita, I know that you have recently done a project in one of the communities, and you've engaged with some of our senior citizens. And what are some of the concerns that they have? What are the challenges that they are facing?
That's correct, Leader Nicole. So one of the concerns that our elderly has raised is the fact that often families are dependent upon them, upon the social
That's true.
grant, which we know it's not a lot.
Yeah.
The other concern that they have also raised is their safety as well as abuse.
Yeah.
And the elderly just have this that nobody cares about them.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is really sad that
Yeah.
things has not changed.
Yeah,
yet.
I believe you interviewed one of the ladies in one of the communities. Maybe just touch on what it is that she spoke to you about when you spoke with her.
Yes, so I interviewed the lady, and it was really sad the fact that she has to get up early in the morning
Yeah,
to come to a station where they get food,
yeah.
and to get up in the morning at 6 already.
Wow.
Just to get like a ticket with a number for food. That
Are you
is sad.
serious?
And she is 61 years old.
Sure. So she has to get up early in the morning so that
That's
she
correct.
can join a ticketing system in order to ensure that she has a meal for that day.
Yes, and when the grandchildren come from school,
Yeah.
she brings them with if there's nothing to
Yeah.
eat.
How sad is that?
And this is our seniors that, like leaders said, made a contribution towards our community.
Yeah. And I'm sure this is not just something that is happening just within the city of Cape Town. If this is something that rings truth in all of our provinces, I want you to comment tonight and tell us what are the concerns, what are the challenges that our elderly people are facing. I mean, it's shocking, it's appalling for me to see that they have contributed so much in building the society that now our government refuses, I would say refuses, to even turn an eye to make sure that they are taken care of.
Yes.
And that for me is very, very sad tonight, leader.
No, it is. And I think also that our older people, they have already been disadvantaged in the past, and it's like this injustice.
That is so true.
It's still persisting.
Yes.
Even in 2021, we still have these things persisting, and it's very, very sad for just the dire situation that our society is in. Because when you look at the bill or the older person's human rights, you see that they are saying that they want to maintain and uphold the older people and the protection of them. But where is that?
Yes.
Where is that happening? I've not seen that. I don't know if you have seen any progression or progress with regards to investing into the well-being of our older people. So it's a great concern that these things are being said, but very little is being done.
Yes.
And also it's evident in the way our societies are today. I mean, there's so many newspaper articles that is always illustrating how poor the healthcare system
Yes.
is. You know, how our
Wow.
people struggle to even get into the hospital for that day.
That is true.
So I think that is also one of the growing concerns with our older people. And tonight, older people, we really salute you. We salute your
Yes.
contribution.
Yes.
We are because of what you have done,
That's
and we are
right.
grateful for
Yeah.
that. And tonight, we just want to basically celebrate you and discuss
Yes.
the challenges that you face, because you know many times you don't speak about what you face.
Yes.
You don't speak about the challenges you have. You still will take care of your grandchildren and your children, and we really applaud that and we value that tonight. But tonight we want to share with South Africa the challenges that
Yes.
you are facing, and you know, tonight if we can do better, I think we should.
Yes.
As
Yes.
a nation, we
agree.
should. So I look forward to this discussion. I think it's going to be good in empowering us and also educating us
That's right.
on this topic tonight. So I'm going to direct it to Kaylin now. Kaylin, tell me, with regards to the healthcare system, it is such a basic need,
Yes.
Yeah.
but yet that is something that is not even it's not efficient.
Yeah.
So true, Leader Marion. You know, around 80%, and this is my viewpoint
Yeah.
on our healthcare system, around 80% of our population, they actually depend on the government sector
Yeah.
or section of the
Shocking.
healthcare. 80%.
Sure, that's
So
huge amount.
in South Africa is actually rated 49th on the global healthcare index
Yeah.
in the entire world when it comes to our healthcare system. And although the government has done numerous things to try and improve our healthcare system, we still face the crisis of inadequate staff,
That's right.
structures that are not really that of a
Yes.
healthcare system.
Yeah.
So yes, we acknowledge the fact that something is being done, but we're not seeing that change in our healthcare systems. And our elderly, they are the ones that bear the brunt of it when they have to wake up 4 o'clock in the morning to
Yeah.
go and stand at a day hospital.
Yes.
And they literally call it a day hospital because you can spend your entire day
Yeah.
at the
That's
hospital.
true. That is so true.
That is so true, Kaylin. And I agree with Kaylin fully, because while I'm doing interviews and working in the community, I had a elderly lady said that by the time they have paid for the chronic medicine for her
Yeah.
husband,
Sure.
Yeah.
there's nothing left of the pension grant that they get.
So they have to pay for those medication from
If
the
you do
same.
not want to go and sit at the day hospital.
Wow.
So inadequate transport systems to get them to where they need to be.
Yeah.
The times are limited.
Yes.
Yeah.
You leave your husband at home because you have to go
Yeah.
out and get that chronic medication.
Yeah.
You get an appointment to come.
Yeah.
On the day you get there, you get told you can't see the
yes.
doctor.
Yeah.
You just get medication.
Yeah, I believe that happened to one of the ladies that you in your
That's
community.
correct.
She
Yes.
just explained to us her scenario.
So she got an appointment last year
Sure.
Yeah.
for doctor this year.
Sure.
So
And
she
she's on
rocked
chronic medication.
She rocked up she arrived at the day hospital this morning, and she was told, we understand the situation with COVID, etc. She cannot see doctor. She must only take the medication.
So they didn't do a checkup.
No examination, no checkup, nothing. So who says the medication is still valid for whatever she needs to see doctor?
That is so shocking.
And that is sad.
Yeah.
And if I can just chirp in, Leader Marion and Leader Nicole, I'm actually in 100% agreement with Leader Carmelita, because they say when you interview our healthcare or our older people, everything that comes out of their mouth is they don't care about us.
Yeah.
And it is sad because these are the people that fought for
That's
for
right.
where we are today,
Yeah.
fought for our freedom, and this is how they are treated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And also, if you look at the statistics, that the older persons, they make up 8% of
Yes.
the population
Yes.
in the nation, which is actually a very huge percentage.
That's right.
Yet for them to be so marginalized or to be disregarded, it is something that we really need to take into account,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it can't continue. These people have been disadvantaged for many years prior to this,
Yeah.
and yet they are now again almost like experiencing a new type of suffering,
that's right.
which I just don't think it is right. And I think that at this point in time, they should have made better provision for our older people.
Yes.
They should have put more, and you know, yes, I understand the part of these NGOs doing these things, but have you really looked at the numbers? Have you really looked at, are we getting to each older person, whether they are community based, whether they are in homes? Have you really done that analysis? And yeah, that is just, we need to prioritize our older people more.
That's correct.
That's correct. 100% Leader Marion. Also, despite the fact that our healthcare system is not 100% on point, and I'm going to say it because it's so evident.
That's right.
Yeah.
You go to a public
That's right.
hospital, I go to public hospitals, and you see our older people, they sit in chairs. Some don't even sit, they actually just stand against the wall. Some are
It is
sitting
shocking.
It is so terrible. Some are actually sitting outside on little steps. And then to be treated or to be ill-treated by the staff working, that is another topic.
Yeah.
So actually some of our older citizens, they made reference in articles where they say that the staff will stand around in the hospitals and they'll talk about what they did for the weekend. And the minute a doctor passes, they on their balls again. And that shouldn't be the case.
Of course. Kaylin, tell us some of the challenges that you have found within the health sector that our elderly people are facing.
Yes, so the main challenge or the first challenge that they do face is the public transport to get to a healthcare facility.
Yeah.
So our older people, when they get their little grants, half of that has to go to their family, and the other half they have to use, like Carmelita said, for medication. Also, the fact that our hospitals, they don't incorporate, or they don't really care directly for our elderly people. They will first see to their needs, or they will just leave your elderly right there. So our elderly are, I won't say forgotten, but they literally left behind. This one lady even said that they sought the younger generation out first.
You know, that is such a good point. We, in the week, one of our calls that we got through to the office here in ARA, it was a woman, she's 65 years old, and she says that she's currently looking for accommodation. She's looking for a place to stay because she's 65 and she's been on the waiting list for so many
Wow.
years. And she's saying that these people that she's aware of that is much younger,
Yes.
that has gotten housing, and she was asking, how does the system work that at 65 she's being told she needs to wait another 10 years.
Yes.
I don't know if the woman has another 10 years.
Exactly.
So that is the type of failure that is taking place where it's almost like they are marginalized and the others are giving preference,
Yeah.
Yes.
which shouldn't be the case. Remember, our older people, they might be frail, they might have underlying
Yes.
illnesses, some of them even lack basic care
That's right.
and don't have food. So there's so many contributing factors, and yet we expect them to be fit and to wait in long queues and just to be okay with what is being done. So it's really sad.
It's so true, Leader Marion, because another topic or another challenge that they face is the lack of medication. Can you believe it that our healthcare system sometimes lack medication? So I wake up.
That's not even, it's not
I'm
even.
62. I'm 62 years old. I wake up to go 4 o'clock, because that is the times I've seen at some day hospitals. They are there from 3 o'clock in the morning. They wake up, they spend the entire day there to go only for medication, only to be told your package, because it gets packaged, has not been, it has not arrived. But my date on my card says the 19th of August, for example.
Yeah. I just want to read one of the comments, if I may. I've got a comment coming in from Danae September. She says our elderly have to stand in a long queue to collect their grants at SASSA
Yes.
and to collect their medication. I also have Solmo van Renen that says my dad only goes for dressings, but now they have told him that he must take the vaccine, and now he's not going to go anymore, so I have to do it at home. And I mean, that is
Terrible.
shocking. It's terrible for anyone. It's total disrespect. We have people coming in saying it is a total disrespect for our
Yes.
elderly, and I agree with him. Someone says heel dag weg when you're at the day hospital. They say the waghospitaal.
They actually they pack them a whole lunch bag
Yeah.
Now, what about the one that doesn't have to pack a whole
a lunch bag.
It's really sad how they're being disregarded. It's not right. So I think let us touch on what is the government doing. Yes, they are providing a SASSA grant, eh?
Yeah.
So let us go into that, and is it really sustainable? Is it really able to
Sure.
take care of our older people after you've worked all these years you've been marginalized, you've
contributed all
been
these
disadvantaged,
years.
you were part of the struggle. So like
You have
how
contributed financially
You
for
felt
all
both.
these years, and now it's time to be taken care of, and you're not being taken care of. I know you spoke about, you spoke to one you did an interview with one of the gentlemen, and he spoke about the SASSA grant and the fact that he just, it's not enough for him to provide for everything because electricity is up.
That's
And
it.
maybe just speak to us about what it is that he has to do in order to create another income.
So this gentleman said like he does because obviously they can't get work.
Yeah.
So
That
he
is so
said they
shocking.
would- he would do a job in the garden here, get
Yeah.
like soos hy sê tuinwerkies
Yeah.
to sustain himself.
Yeah.
And like at 1890, the first lady that I asked what
What
are
is
your
1890?
that is the amount that they get for the SASSA grant. So leader,
Really?
if an average income per like if somebody maybe on 30,000
Yeah.
can't survive from month to month,
Exactly.
how can our senior survive on 1890, who's
Yeah.
often the only person in the family that
Yes,
has that
yes.
money to sustain those children, sustain those grandchildren?
Yeah.
I mean, the person that I spoke to said she bought 300 rand electricity the beginning of the month. It's only the 19, she's on 30 units, where's the rest of the
Wow.
month?
And these are the daily
And
challenges.
these are electricity has gone up. These are the
Yes.
daily challenges. The lady that I spoke to said they increased by 20 rand. She's not ungrateful, but what can she do with the 20 rand?
But it's
She says
bad.
it's like a cycle.
Sure.
The cycle just continues
Yeah.
because as soon as she gets her money,
Yeah.
she has to go and make sure that there's things in the house. If she had borrowed from other people, she need to pay those
Exactly.
people
Yes.
back. So the
Yes.
cycle
Cycle.
just continues.
Yeah.
And where is what happened to their dignity? Because I mean, you now have to go and ask somebody
Wow.
in order for your family to survive.
Yeah.
And it just continues month after month after month.
Yeah.
And nobody can survive on a 1890.
Of course.
Exactly.
Nobody can.
And sorry, Leader Marion, and even just to get your 1890, it's
It's
a
a
whole challenge on its own, leaders.
What
Let's
is it
talk
that they
about
face?
that.
Yeah.
It's a whole challenge on their own. So we know that your Shoprite and Checkers, they distribute the funds
Yeah.
to the elderly.
Yeah.
But to get there,
Yeah.
it costs money.
Of course.
Yes.
So they
Yeah.
really cannot survive with that one. Now they need to pay someone to take them. Like leader said, it's a cycle, a continuous cycle. And I've been in a store where they are told the money is finished. So I stood there to draw my SASSA money because I know that on the 3rd I am
Of course,
eligible to
yes,
get my money.
yes.
Only
And
to
maybe
be
it could
told
have been your last that you
My-
came with because
Exactly.
you're banking on I'm going home and I'm going to have.
have it.
Yes, sir.
Only to be told I don't have money. And the manner in which it's been expressed, well, like we really don't care about you, but there's no money.
Yeah.
So that is just one of the challenges.
Yeah. So, in your opinion, Kaylin, the current health system when it comes to our older persons, speak to us about that.
So with my view, as I mentioned, Leader Nicole, in the beginning, is that so much work needs to be done on our health system, not only to cater for our elderly, but we literally, not only are we understaffed, but our infrastructure, like I mentioned, it is, I've seen hospitals where people are actually laying on the floor waiting for a doctor. And then in our case studies, there are people that testify that they are told, I cannot see you now, or there's only one doctor. This gentleman was saying that he sees about 50 doctors in the year. They feel like they are not cared for, they are not remembered. Because if I'm going to see 50 doctors, he's not going to remember my issue.
Yeah.
I go to a doctor, I need you to examine me. This guy was saying they don't even touch him. They don't even stick out their stethoscope to see if everything is okay. You need to tell them. What am I as an elderly going to be able to tell you exactly what is wrong? I'm telling my back is sore, but I'm going to need you to examine me.
Of course.
So that is what my view on our healthcare system.
Sure.
The challenges, yeah. I think also with the SASSA, just to go back to that, with the SASSA, I know there's a means test that has to be done in order for you to qualify.
Yes.
So I want to speak on that a bit. So for example, part of the means test, if you're single, you qualify. based on a certain criteria, and if you're married, they've got different criteria. So when you go and you're over 60, it doesn't guarantee you that you will be supported by government or that you will be eligible for the SASSA pension. And if you look at the criteria, it definitely is challengeable and questionable, because one of the criteria is if you have assets to the value of 1.1 plus a few figures, that can easily disqualify you. So
Are you serious?
Unfortunately so. So for example, if you bought a property many moons ago, and as we know, property it increases over time, and what if your property fortunately is that, or if the assets that you've attained over the years through hard work and sacrifice, what if it is, does that disqualify you? I think it's just very unfair. There needs to be a better plan in place for the older people, and just more regard. I think this also touches on the humanity part, where if you see an older person, even, you know, what is it to buy them a bread? Because by just you spending that extra 12 rand or 14 rand, you are feeding a family, you are helping a family. So I think also, if we should take away something tonight, it's also just that we just take a second a step back and actually learn to just give to our elderly a bit more freely, because they are really suffering, and they are really getting the short end of the stick, and the system is really failing them, and they are really waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning for medication. Their health is deteriorating, and the support structure is sometimes like zero to none. Because what takes place is, yes, they are dependent on the grant, but then they've also got socio-economic issues. For example, they might be taking care of the grandchildren. You know, many times, even in practice for me, I dealt with a case where a grandma, she's taking care of like 3 kids, and she says to me, Marian, you know, I am so adamant to take care of these 3 kids, and she's getting no support. So it's just her and her husband's pension that is basically feeding these 3 school-going kids. So it's really admirable, you know, in terms of what they are doing, but let us not disregard them, let us not add to their suffering. Let us stand up, and also, you know, even in queues and in stuff.
That's right.
Let us give them preference. You know, let us. ARA is all about restoring. Let us restore that dignity for them. And I think something that you said that was so profound, that of the lady, if they can't even. If they can't afford the electricity, and they don't have hot water, and some may say yes, but it's a luxury. But I mean, in today, it's a basic need. Yes. So if they can't even bathe themselves or bath themselves because of a lack of resources, I mean, where's the dignity in that? And I thought that was so profound when you said that. So those are just some of the things that we can speak about, and there's definitely more. So let us talk some more on what they are facing as older people, and also send us your comments as well if you know about any cases where older people are suffering and they are struggling immensely. So send your comments to us on Facebook. We would love to hear from you, and also just read it out to the rest of the audience.
I just want to mention Alicia Bester. She says she's commenting on the fact of the amount that our elderly receive, and she says, yet our president says that the members of parliament cannot live on 100,000, but our elderly can survive on 1890. This makes no sense. And I wholeheartedly agree with what she's saying tonight.
They survive on that, and they provide for, like Leader Marian said, for the children. They normally become the sole provider of a family. The other thing I also wanted to make mention of was, if an elderly gets admitted to a community center or like a home, do you guys know that a 20% is actually taken off their pension?
From the 1890.
From 1890, 20% gets taken off
If
that.
I may ask why? What is the reasoning behind that?
So according to the government has to go with to provide for them in their care. So like for the food that is given to them there. But what about if I want to buy me a chocolate? Because I guarantee you don't get a chocolate in a healthcare service.
But are these facilities not government funded facilities?
It's supposed to be.
So a government funded facility, you have to pay from your government pension
20%
back to It makes no sense.
And
Not
you've
at
been paying tax all your life.
Exactly.
But I salute our seniors
Yeah.
because the one gentleman that I talked to, he said it's often the seniors in the communities that make sure that they do not have work,
Yeah.
that they still give them something to eat.
Sure.
So of that
is so
189, they still have compassion
That's
for
right.
their communities.
Yeah.
Yet it feels like they're not cared for. It feels like, well, you're on the sideline.
Yeah.
So they are actually doing what the government should be doing,
Exactly.
irrespective of being like pushed on the sideline.
You can really depend on an older person to make
Yes.
plenty of very little.
Yes.
Like that is like they golden with
Yes.
that.
Yes.
You, gosh, it's like you give them flour and they create magic.
Just with flour.
So I really, gosh, they are such a precious part of
Jewels.
society.
They are.
That's right. Kellen, I know you did a study, I think. On,
Yes.
Maybe just touch a bit on that.
So in the same case study, Leader Nicole, an extract out of the study says that the Western Cape government makes preference to seeing that the younger children and the older, that they get the first privilege. But nowhere have I ever seen that this is evident in our healthcare system. Not in any system, not even in our SASA lines. You don't have someone call them out of the
that's
line
right.
to come to
That's
the front.
right. Yeah.
So we took three. The case study actually took 3 class areas, and it was your middle, your bottom, and then your top. And then they went around and they asked questions. How do they feel about it? Was mainly about the healthcare system, because I think healthcare is one of, I mean, it's a human right. It's a basic human right. But our people, they suffer when it comes to it in the government sector or the public sector, if I put it that way. And then when we looked at the two, when the comparison was done between the two income bases, that it was the same. But then there was one that stood out, and they said that no, we get proper treatment, but where do you get the treatment from? Where do your treatment come from? And that was a few of the case studies. And the one article, if I may read it off,
definitely.
the lady says, I know a lady who had to wait 2 years for the doctor. This is a let me say the top income, right? I know a lady who had to wait 2 years for the doctor. I saw the same doctor in a week.
Yeah.
Sure.
I got an appointment for the week thereafter again. I went to him and everything is sorted out, but she waited 2 years because she didn't, and the lady says she didn't have medical aid. But it defeats the purpose. So I can see you because I have medical aid, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm funding my own medical aid.
Exactly.
But because I have that card or I have medical insurance, I get the preference of seeing a doctor that someone waited 2 years for, only to see them
Yeah.
a week, and I get to see them again the next week.
Gosh.
So,
So that's some food for thought,
Yes.
That is definitely some food
Yes.
for thought, because as much as you don't want to always highlight the injustice, but it is what it is. And I think what we the people need to know is that the power is in our hands to make better decisions and to vote better, so that our resources does not
right.
go for waste or it doesn't get squandered, because ultimately when it comes to governance and governing a land or even a province or even a ward for that matter, there has to be more thought and consideration for our people. So I think we the people have the power to vote differently and to bring about that change, because I think the current government has had enough time to prove themselves to us and to change systems, but there's certain things that still persist, and to the detriment of our more marginalized groups. And I'm very happy that in Women's Month that we could touch on the older persons, because they are part of the society. So I'm just so chuffed we can look at these things and just bring an awareness and empowerment to our people.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think tonight was very good.
Yeah.
I think everything that was shared, I think it just brings an awareness, because sometimes we overlook these things. We see it on a daily basis. We can all agree. We see this on a daily basis, whether we're in the shopping malls or wherever it is. We see our elderly, they are just, I don't want to say victimized. I could say victimized, but they're just being looked over.
Yes,
I think
that's
tonight, the purpose of tonight was just to bring that awareness and for us to appreciate all of the contributions that has been made. And tonight, before we close, maybe there's some final closing statements that you guys just want to make, or just some final thoughts from your end. Maybe Kaylin?
Yes, if I could just, if you do see an elderly, give them right of way, if I can put it that way. You know, it's easy to overlook them, but how much easier is it to just give them the right of way?
That's right.
Give them the right of way in a store. Because I mean, they say it's a disabled till, but you see normal people standing in it, if I can put it that way. Give our elder the right of way. I mean, they fought for where we are today. They are still fighting for where we are going. So I personally salute our elders.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything from your side, Carmelita, in closing?
This evening, I just want us, let us restore their dignity. Let us
Yes.
restore their dignity, what they have put in the communities, what they have, their wisdom, uplifting the communities. Let us restore their dignity by giving back to them.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Kaylin and Carmelita, for the work that you are doing as ARA women in the communities and for going to the extent that you are for our elderly people. I want to salute you guys for the great work that you are doing. And thank you for joining us this evening, Kaylin and Carmelita.
Thank you.
Anything you'd like to say in closing, leader, before we say goodbye?
I want to just say that we the people have the power, so we can change things. So with your vote, if you vote for ARA, we can change things. We can make things better. So we the people, we have the power to bring about restoration. And this Women's Month, I hope thus far you've enjoyed our broadcast. It's been really, really awesome with all the different guests and all the different topics. So this evening, I want to say have a good evening, and that's all I want to say.
Thank you. I
further.
think you couldn't have said it better.
Yes.
So thank you everyone for joining us this evening.